This week on Indy News, you can film epic bullet time video selfies with this new boomerang camera device. Next, do you really need a new full Steadicam vest for a single handle gimbal? This photo company seems to think so. And speaking of gimbals, this gimbal company is giving away $18,000 worth of equipment to content creators through an online video contest. Hey Indy Mogulers, Griffin here. The filmmaking world produces a lot of weird looking stuff, from squeaky frogs for baby photos to egg-shaped folding drones. But this new Ukrainian product on Kickstarter looks absolutely insane. The Wingo Pro launched on Kickstarter last month and reached its full $1,000 funding goal in just 2 days. When I first saw it described as a boomerang plus an action camera, I thought, there is no way this thing works. But now I understand, it doesn't fly on its own. You spin the Wingo Pro around with a cord. It twirls about to capture you in all 360 degrees, ideally in slow motion, to recreate a bullet time effect similar to the Matrix. It sports a polycarbonate frame with a 2-meter long cord strung around a rotating bearing. There's also a weight you can shift to adjust balance for whichever action camera you decide to mount. Ukrainian filmmaker Artem Gaver says he first made a prototype 4 years ago, and that this commercial version has been in development for the last 7 months. While this device is lightweight and travel-friendly, you will need an action camera that has some high frame rate recording if you want to get the advertised desired effect. You can imagine that full speed video spinning like that could be pretty intense to watch. And it's kind of a one-trick pony. You'll always have to have an arm up in the air in every shot. It reminds me of a 360-degree spherical video camera, where a selfie stick is always visible and needs to be masked out. But still, it's a cool, unique effect, and even if my life isn't cool enough for epic bullet time, it looks fun. For a few more days, the Kickstarter pricing is $55, and they say it'll start shipping in September. I can imagine seeing this effect appearing on a lot of travel Instagrams, and maybe an adventurous filmmaker can come up with a cool narrative use for the effect. I think of the snorri cam shot, which has often been used to visualize drunkenness or drug use in films. Whatever you come up with for the Wingo Pro, just be mindful of your surroundings. With the modern advent of electronic gimbals, we've been able to move away from heavy Steadicam-like systems, weighted systems, to little things like this. For as lightweight as these are, maybe you're shooting with a full-frame camera or a cinema camera and you're putting a heavy speed booster and lens combo on there. Soon, you might need a much bigger system like the DJI Ronin S. And I know from personal experience using that it gets pretty tiring quickly. So maybe you need a stabilizer for your stabilizer. Enter the digital photo THANOS gimbal support system. While it does not come with any of the 6 infinity stones, it will take the load of the gimbal off your hands. The support system resembles a traditional Steadicam vest and can support a 5.5 kilogram payload, just over 12 pounds. The adjustable center mounting bracket slides up and down depending on where you want your center of gravity to be. With an adapter for smaller handles, the gimbal vest supports everything from a Ronin S, Gimbal cranes, Feiyu AKs, Gudson Mosas. Okay, now I'm just naming every gimbal brand there is. Digital Photo also says it reduces that up and down bounce you get with gimbals. Gimbal footage has always looked smooth, but you can still see that walking cadence. So people still prefer the cinematic feel of a perfectly level Steadicam style movement. You'd expect that any device that distributes weight across your body that looks like a Steadicam vest should produce some pretty smooth shots. There's no THANOS test footage yet, but if you look at similarly priced vests like the Glide Gear DNA 6000, that may give you an idea of the kinds of shots you'll be able to achieve. The THANOS is available for pre-order on B&H for $450, and it's currently one of the only dedicated options for a single handle gimbal. So if you have a heavy DJI Ronin S, this might be a good tool for you. I have really enjoyed adding an electronic gimbal to my arsenal, so it's cool to see an electronic gimbal company challenging filmmakers to become even more creative. Gimbal, the gimbal company behind the Crane series, is running a competition called the Top Player Video Challenge. Filmmakers have to submit a 30-second to 5-minute video, and they must include one or more of these 3 gimbal motions: a Steadicam-style breathing effect, full-range POV featuring 360 degrees of motion, or vortex mode, which is some kind of rolling barrel shot. This is what I love about video contests. I actually struggle to be creative in a world of infinite possibilities. So when you tell me that I have to include these 3 things, that's nice. Now I have a little box I can be super creative inside. And of course, there are big prizes at stake. GUN has partnered with brands like Nikon, Atomos, Rode, and Aperture to give out fully loaded filmmaker kits that are worth $18,000 in total. For example, the first prize winner will get a Nikon Z6 with 24 to 70mm lens, a lens adapter, an Atomos Ninja, a GUN Weeble Lab stabilizer, an Aperture Tri-8, a Hollywood Mars 300 wireless video transmitter system, a Lenon Falcon LTS3 tripod, a Rode VideoMic Pro Plus, and 10,000 yuan, or about $1,500. That's quite a bit of stuff. Submissions are already rolling in for this contest. You can watch them right now. You can already see how people are being creative with gimbal shots in their films. And I would love to see an indie moguler win this thing. So please check out the link in the video description and go for it. All right, it's time for questions from the Indie Mogul audience. The first one comes from Kevin Grau about the Trash app from last week's episode. This was about using AI to help editing. Hey Griffin, love the weekly coverage of the film and tech world. That neural network for editing is cool. Do you think any other jobs could be replaced by AI? For example, a focus puller AI that works off specific settings for each shot, or an actor wearing a wireless sensor and an AI pulling focus based on that sensor. That's a good idea. Yeah, I think for all you focus pullers out there, the AI could come for your job. I mean, they have robots now that can pan and follow an actor. So I feel like operating a camera and pulling focus could definitely be done through AI. I mean, you could certainly imagine like a Steadicam operator being replaced by a robot. Now I'm just ruining someone's life. You know, so much of what we do is still artistic. A robot can do the things that are repeatable. Operate a slider automatically, operate a jib automatically. Kind of the artistic decisions that you're making with lighting and editing, I think those are still safe for a little bit. Next, Llama Land asks, Griffin, you talk about Panasonic a lot. Why are you such a fanboy? Well, the answer is that I like to talk about what I know. I like to talk about the equipment that I'm actually using. And I don't have experience with every camera system, but I've been shooting with Panasonic Lumix cameras ever since 2010. It just happens to be the camera I bought when I got into DSLRs. I kept using that line of cameras. I shot my film Sriracha on a GH3, a Panasonic GH3. And by the time the GH5 was in development in 2016, Panasonic actually noticed all the tutorial videos I'd made, and they invited me to come in and asked me if I wanted to be a brand ambassador for the GH5 launch. So now I have a formal relationship with Panasonic where they send me to a trade show and I'll teach people how to use their cameras, and they pay me for my time to do that. They sent me this GH5 that I'm shooting with right now before it even came out. I don't know, you might call me a fanboy, but I like to tell you how to use the equipment that I know how to use. I also often talk about the microphone I use. I love this Azden 250CX, just a great $200 microphone. I'm also using a Pedco Ultra Clamp to mount it here beneath me. That's one of my favorite products to talk about. In fact, while I'm on this tangent of all the gear I use, you can find everything I use at griffinhammond.com/gear. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Indie News. As always, let us know in the comments what you thought about these stories. If you have questions you'd like me to tackle in future episodes, and be sure to subscribe to Indie Mogul for more entertaining and educational filmmaking content like this. And we'll see you next week. Are we somehow going to use B-roll of Little Nas X using the Thanos with his Thanos hand?